The loudest voices attacking the billionaire ruling class today are running political campaigns entirely funded by them. For decades, the factory floor was the undisputed engine of the political left. Blue-collar workers built the coalition, and the party platform reflected their priorities. But tracing the money and the motives reveals a different reality today. We partnered with Shasta Unfiltered to find out exactly who is steering this modern political machine. The underlying progressive coalition has shifted. It is no longer dominated by trade unions and hourly laborers. It relies on college-educated professionals, wealthy suburbanites, and highly organized elite activist networks. This new base demands higher taxes on producers, strict government control over energy and housing, and aggressive wealth redistribution schemes, policies that middle American voters frequently associate with their own rising costs. Faced with an unpopular agenda, the left engineered a solution. They began manufacturing relatable, everyman avatars to convince the working class to vote against their own economic interests. This strategy operates on image management on an industrial scale. The goal is to package standard bearers of state power as middle-class strivers and plain-spoken folks who change their own oil. Tim Walz was presented to voters in 2024 as the relatable Minnesota coach and teacher, the white middle-class guy from flyover country. The packaging deliberately masked a legislative record devoted to progressive, state-expanding priorities. Graham Plattner ran a similar playbook, selling himself as a rugged Maine oyster farmer who worked the water with his hands. Financial disclosures later showed the operation brought in roughly $5,000 annually, mostly supplying his mother's restaurant. It was a boutique family hobby, subsidized by VA benefits, masquerading as a blue-collar livelihood. When the resume isn't enough, candidates deploy performative relatability. They actively alter their cadence, their vocabulary, and their personal history depending on the zip code they are standing in. Barack Obama fluidly code-switched from a polished, professorial delivery for general audiences to a looser call-and-response rhythm in targeted crowds. Hillary Clinton frequently adopted a Southern drawl in specific states that vanished the moment she left the region. Kamala Harris utilized the same tactic, showing noticeable shifts in inflection to match whatever room she entered. She even built her working-class credibility on claims of working the fryer at McDonald's, a job the corporation has no record of her ever holding. Working Americans notice when the accent or the story changes with the zip code. Shifting inflections and curated biographies are calculated tools used to bridge the cultural gap between elite candidates and the voters they are attempting to reach. The disguise requires a persistent villain.
Politicians endlessly denounce the oligarch billionaire ruling class on camera, while quietly courting sympathetic billionaires behind the scenes to finance their campaigns. This diagram maps the reality of that funding. We see hundreds of millions of dollars flowing directly from a handful of centralized tech and finance elites down into dozens of interconnected progressive PACs and activist groups. George Soros and his network have directed over $100 million in recent cycles specifically to build out this progressive infrastructure. Bill Gates utilizes his massive philanthropic apparatus to shape public education and policy debates, wielding financial leverage that average citizens cannot compete with. This elite funding network provides cover for increasingly radical ideologies. Influential progressive streamer Hassan Piker openly praises Mao Zedong as a leader who changed the entire universe, frequently addressing young voters while wearing Mao-themed attire.
Mao's regime is historically responsible for the deaths of tens of millions of people through famine, purges, and engineered chaos. The modern left tolerates the romanticization of history's most lethal central planner, so long as the influencer doing it also complains about capitalism. Donald Trump offered a different model. He never hid his wealth, and he never faked a factory floor accent. He presented himself as a businessman leveraging deals for economic nationalism. Working-class voters across demographic lines shifted toward him because they saw less condescension. The anti-oligarch rhetoric is a smokescreen. It distracts the working class with class warfare, while those exact same oligarchs fund the expansion of government control over private enterprise and personal decisions. The consequences of this national masquerade do not stay in Washington. They bleed directly into rural communities, including right here in Shasta County. The abstract theories of identity-driven economics and wealth redistribution manifest in Shasta County through aggressive land use rules, restrictive water allocations, and compromised public safety policies. Citizens bear the actual cost of the disguise. Bureaucratic overreach leads to higher housing costs, spikes in energy prices, and stagnant wages, making it further for actual blue-collar families to survive. Scrutinize the local politician wearing the working-class costume. If their immediate solution to a community problem is to raise your taxes rather than audit their own waste and abuse, they are running the national playbook on you. Authenticity is the minimum requirement for durable trust in politics. The costume is slipping, and working Americans are realizing the actual threat to their livelihoods is hiding behind a curated public image. You defeat political manipulation with transparency. That requires supporting localized, honest journalism that refuses to play along with the act and holds power strictly accountable. Subscribe to this channel, share this video, and visit ShastaUnfiltered.com to support the honest news and entertainment the North State deserves.